they said, okay, what would you rather do? Would you rather be a parts manager, or would you rather be a regional manager in charge of setting up dealers and sales? I said, well, I know more about sales than I do about parts, so yeah, I'll be a salesperson and set up new dealers. And so they said, okay, well, we're going to assign you an area. And so the area happened to be Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Indiana, and Michigan, and Ohio. And I said, well, and I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling. And they said, yeah. And I said, well, yeah, I'll give that a shot. So this is how I got started with Honda. I did a whole lot of jobs. The person that they trained to be the parts manager there in Racine didn't work out. So they said, well, you can be the parts manager then. You just come in and run the parts department. And which I had, one of my duties was to set it up in the first place. And I get the impression that Honda's pretty serious, because I went around the little town of Racine, it's about 70,000 people, looking at different buildings to rent to set up the parts department. And I sent them a report about it. This is how big this place is, this is what kind of a place it is, and this is how much it costs a month to rent it. Honda chose the most expensive place that I had looked at. I thought, geez, these people really are serious. And sure as heck they were. So we set up the parts department, and then I was assigned various different jobs. And Honda, of course, I knew the representative for Triumph, setting up dealers and servicing dealers in the same place. And I found out from one of the guys that I knew pretty well. Well, he said that the Triumph representative said, oh, don't take on Honda, because they're going to go broke. No motorcycle company can stay in business and advertise it Saturday evening post, for goodness sakes. So but that's the approach that Honda took. And I found out later they were advertising in the Wall Street Journal for employees. Then they call me up and say, look, we've had some applications for employee from such and such an area, which happens to be in the lot of states that I represented. And they said, we'd like you to go and interview these people, and then send us the name of the person you think most suitable to be an employee, you having had the experience there in the area. So I wound up choosing various employees, not only for the warehouse, but for service and sales in my area. And I found out, having been around bikes a lot, most of the people that were in the motorcycle business were enthusiasts. And that was okay with me. But then I discovered, all by myself, look, if this motorcycle is going to go big in this country, and I think it can, because these people don't mind spending money, and they're approaching this in a very serious way, they ought to be trained as to what the motorcycle is all about, how to fix it, because something's going to go wrong, so forth. So that's when I wound up choosing Bob Jameson, because I figured there ought to be a service school set up for dealers' mechanics. Because as you know, most people involved in the motorcycle business were enthusiasts. not necessarily mechanics or salespeople, but they were enthusiastic about a motorcycle. So that's how we wound up then enlarging the parts warehouse to include a service school where they would be taught how to work on a Honda. And this worked out pretty well until some things that I'm not going to tell you about, but it had to do with unionizing and so forth. So first thing you know, I get the message, we're going to close the racing warehouse. And I said, well, it's your business, you do what you want to do. And so they said, well, we want you to come to California. And I said, well, because I had built a house there in Racine and I kind of liked it because I was born and raised there. I said, well, I'm thinking to myself, the road runs both ways, so I might as well give it a shot. So I went to California. And this was about 1969 by this time, and I'd had a little service with the company and so forth. So they said, well, we want you to be a sales manager for the eastern half of the United States, east of the Mississippi River. And you can be the sales manager, because you know most of the dealers out that way. In fact, the matter is, I'd set most of them up. They were friends of mine, Dick Clamforth in Ohio and various guys that I knew. So I emigrated to California. And in the position I had, which was Eastern Sales Manager, then they decided they wanted me to be a service manager for the United States. Well, when you got a job, you do what the company says. And introducing the motorcycle, the name of Honda, to the United States is a pretty big job. And as most of you know, with gray hair and all, you can remember before World War II, anything made in Japan was junk. And so the thinking came along of people like myself that was kind of must have been a junky motorcycle. But I still say today, what kept Honda going, even after a lot of mistakes that were made and so forth, is the quality of the product. That's what held the whole thing together. And parts availability, just like that, that was a big thing. So one day they said to 4 of us, service manager, sales manager, parts manager, employee relations manager. We're going to send you to Japan and you can visit the operation in Japan, which was a heck of a good idea, I thought. And in the interim, during the years that I've been there, one of the things that came up was any big event like this one, Honda would attend. The fact of the matter is, at Daytona every year, which I had been going to for about 15 years, they always had a motorcycle show. But Honda couldn't get in the motorcycle show at first because it was all full. BSA, Triumph, Harley, and the rest of them. So what Honda did, they rented a building just up the street that happened to be empty. And they had all the models on show there. So if somebody was interested in going to a motorcycle show, they could walk up the street a half a block, and there were all the Hondas in there, in the only place that you could see a Honda, because there was none in the main show place.